and welcome to the Autocar Show. Now it's really strange that I'm driving a car that's totally under wraps. I'm not able to show you much, but this is Hyundai's car that was codenamed BA. It's now called the Grand i10 and it's going to be between the i10 and the i20. The car's still under wraps because the global unveil hasn't happened yet, but we're getting a sneak preview into what this new diesel engine in the car will feel like. The variant we had was equipped with the all-new 1.1-litre CRDI, which will make its debut in this car. It's essentially the i20 engine with a cylinder less. The power figures haven't been disclosed to us, but we expect it to be in the region of 70 PS. The engine starts off with a slight clatter and the normal 3-cylinder vibration. But as you make a move, it smoothens out. So it's got a smart key and a push-button start. And once you're on the go, the first impression is that this engine is extremely refined. And even when it's at full revs, it's barely audible. This engine is absolutely the latest diesel motor in Hyundai's range, and the company claims it will set new standards for fuel efficiency. We'll find out how accurate that is when we do our road test. But with its small capacity and lightweight, it's likely that it will sip very little diesel. Now, it's not punchy or torquey, but the fact is it's a nice linear acceleration. And wherever in the range you take your foot off and put your foot down, you're going to find the power. So be it nipping in and out of traffic or overtaking on a highway, is going to be pretty easy to do. The engine revs quite freely but runs out of breath as you near the 4000 RPM mark. There is no point in pushing the engine beyond this, and it's best to upshift early. It's not an engine that likes to be pushed hard, and nor will it be your best highway companion. Its strength lies in city driving, where you can amble along at low revs easily without having to use the gears much. And if you do need to use the gears, it's a typically Hyundai gearbox, slick, smooth and easy. The small test drive route really didn't allow us to dig too deep into this car, but we were able to form some of our first impressions. The steering is quite light and nice, so parking or driving in the city and nipping in and out of traffic will be pretty easy. And it's still quite stable at higher speeds. The single roundabout on our route exposed the fact that the steering feel wasn't too consistent around the corners. But we will be able to judge handling and steering better on the full road test. Now the ride quality, well, it's hard to judge on this smooth road. You can't really tell how it's going to feel on our potholed roads. But I've got a speed breaker coming up, and that might give me some kind of indication. Seems quite composed over it. And the ride seems to have a certain suppleness about it, but we'll really have to judge this when we put it out in the real world. Now, it's really hard to talk about the exterior considering the cars we had were all covered in cladding. But we have a few pictures to show you what it will look like without the cladding. It's very clearly a Hyundai. It's got the familiar design elements like the hexagonal grille, the stretched headlamps and the pronounced wheel arches. The upmarket alloys borrowed from the Verna add to its premium looks and are a first in this segment. The side profile is not as edgy as the i20 and even the crease lines are less pronounced. However, an interesting fact is that the rear window is different to the European version and specifically designed for our country to have a larger glass area, which makes the rear seat feel more roomy. The rear of the car has interesting wraparound tail lights, and under the hatch is a spacious boot. Well, it's all clad, and unfortunately I'm not allowed to lift the covers and reveal anything to you just yet. But underneath this, there's a nice beige and black two-tone interior which looks really good. Plastic qualities are nice. The knobs and controls for the AC buttons really good. The meters, I really like them. Crystal clear, and especially when they're backlit at night time. The steering, it's a nice thick steering, but I feel it's a little large on this car. You do have the steering adjust. You have a nice cubby hole that's just above this gearbox, which is really nice for storage. You have the cup holders. It's got a deep glove box over here. The rotary air vents are also quite nice. It's quite spacious and airy as well, but let's get into the back seat and find out more about the space. Well, with my seating position and me at the back, there's ample legroom over here, good amount of headroom. But I did test it with two 6-feeters, and they were also pretty comfortable with the 6-footer having his driving position in front and one sitting at the back. They still had a little legroom, so it's quite spacious. And with the flat floorboard, the third passenger can also fit in. However, this rear AC vent, though it's great for comfort for the rear passengers, does intrude a little bit into the space for the third passenger at the back. The window line, it has been changed for the Indian version of the car, but still you sit pretty low, so it is still quite high. The equipment list is pretty impressive. The Grand i10 is expected to compete with the likes of the Figo, the Micra and the Liva. Now, the talking point of the Grand i10 really is the 1.1 litre CRDI diesel engine, which is all new, and we're seeing it for the first time in this car. After having driven it, here's what we feel. It's refined, but it's not really punchy. It runs out of steam at the top end, not a great highway cruiser. However, it will do really well in city conditions. Now, we feel that the 1.2 litre petrol that we've already seen in the i20 will be a great fit in this car. However, we haven't driven it yet. The strengths of this car: the fact that it's spacious, it's got really nice interiors, and it comes feature packed. So you can expect another value pack from Hyundai.